All right, what do we have here? It is bass reamp night for the EGH tune Probably Not, continuing our re-record of Everything But Drums. All the guitars are done. We did a little reamping actually on the drums. And tonight it is all about reamping bass. Ernesto over here redid the bass parts. Let's actually start with that. What do we have here? This is one of our favorite basses that you have. What is it?
A Warwick rock bass, like the most affordable of their models, and it works. Jeez, can't complain. I've been using it for almost every session that I've played on. So
5-string, sounds really good. Actually, I'm a huge Warwick fan. I love the sound of these basses.
you know, obviously active pickups. Yeah, that's part of their appeal. So,
But it sounds great, so I don't care if they're active, non-active, if they're bedridden, whatever. Those pickups are awesome. Okay, amp-wise. This is, if you've seen any of the videos I've done, you've seen me do this exact thing or something very similar many, many times. Splitting the tone up. The Polytone Mini Brute with a single Roswell Pro Audio Delphos, which is one of my favorite combos there. That is the clean tone. It's just pure low end with nothing else on it. Well, there's a little bit of compression, but no distortion or anything. Then the Mark bass here with a Heil PR30. You can see I'm kind of... Cool thing about the Mark bass cones is you can see where things are. Slightly on the edge of the dust cap there. And that we tried a couple pedals. And this time we went with the, what is this? The Boss, the distortion, the DS1X. That's the newer one, right?
yes.
The newer distortion. And that is the cut. So we've got clean low end with the Polytone and the Roswell, and then we have the nastiness from the Mark bass and that the distortion pedal. And we're splitting it. I should cover this too. Splitting it with the Morley ABY, just a simple split. And then we're using the Little Labs Red Eye reamp box. So it comes in, you can see back there, I'll zoom in, back there on the wall. There's the wall panel. So I'm sending it straight out of the computer into the patch bay that comes out here. Goes to the Little Labs, comes out to the Morley, and then it splits over here to the Polytone, and then it splits to this side, which goes to the distortion pedal, into the Mark bass, and then back into the wall, and to the console. It sounds pretty cool, I think.
Oh yeah.
The song is starting to take shape. Now that we've gone through the setup, let's go hear what it sounds like. All right, so let's start off with just taking a listen to our 2 amps. So the DI we still have access to, but right now that's what's powering the amplifiers. But when we go to mix, we can still use that DI if we need that signal for anything, maybe the low end or something else like that. But to start off, let's hear just the clean low end amp, which is the Polytone, on its own. It's got a nice low end. I love how that amp reacts. But we are doing a couple things to it. First off, the signal chain goes to a Heritage Audio successor. Been really loving this thing. Been having a lot of fun checking it out on different sources. Going to do a video on that soon too. We are 4-to-1, 2 millisecond attack with a 100 millisecond release. We are hitting it fairly hard, so we're probably getting a good, let me see. Yeah, we are anywhere 8 to 12 dB. Now, I'm going to let this roll a couple bars and then I'll kick that on so we can hear what it's doing. So it's taking the volume down just a hair, but it's really tightening up the low end and just giving the overall sound a little bit of grit, which I think sounds cool. Then on top of that, I am pulling a little bit of low mid here on the Trident, and here's what that sounds like. I'll start off and then on. So that's our
clean signal. Got a little bite, a little grit, but it's also nice and tight. Now we did kind of mess with the release a little bit. And we like the 100. Here, I'll let you hear what that sounds like. Okay, that's on. So starting with the 100 milliseconds, so I'll go down to 25. So you can hear it kind of clamps a little bit more. The other one's a little punchier, but in context, we liked how it smoothed out and just kind of kept it right underneath the guitars and filling out the bottom end of the drums. And by the way, none of that was, those decisions were made in solo. Ernesto and I sat in here with everything running, kind of going through it. Then it's hitting the Rupert Neve 542 tape emulator with the blue silk on. We are in the 30 IPS setting and hitting it fairly hard. This kind of rounds it off a little bit and sounds nice. The other sound, the Mark bass with the Boss DS1X, right? Here's what that sounds like. Nice and gritty. Together, here's what they sound like. Or here's just the polytone, then I'll roll in the Mark bass. The cool thing about that is we may want it grittier on the choruses where it's the big mean guitars, but on the verses we may roll some of that back so it's a little bit more subdued and lets the melody and stuff come out. Or maybe just leave it gritty the whole time. I don't know yet. We haven't mixed it. But that's what they sound like together. So let's check out context. So here's this is the verse section. Let me turn everybody on here. See, it gives you some options on how gritty you want it to be. Now let's go to the chorus, where things get big and hear it with the fat guitars. So it sounds really cool there, and in some ways the distortion, like you got the clean low end and you always have that, and then you can dial up the distorted amp a little bit more. So say on the choruses there, we might want it to sound more like a third guitar, kind of like a center guitar. And maybe the verses, we want it to be more just the bottom end, so you roll that distortion back. You have options. We'll see how it plays out once we kind of start mixing and get the drums beefed up. But we did make one other change that I just want to go through real quick. Once we got in here and kind of started hearing things, we realized, running this way, that we were hearing, as you can probably hear, it gets much more lively when I walk in here and talk. Because of the volume we're pushing in here, we were actually hearing some of this room tone come back in our close mics. So what we did, you want to come take a look at this? We just took two of the other panels. We had them already on the sides to kind of separate the bass, the two amps. And then all I did was I clamped down on the front of it. So it's not sending out into the room as much. Oh, don't fall on me. And it's not also coming back into. Now it's not going to stay. Now it's going to make me look bad. It's like, you moved me. There we go. And it made quite a difference, actually. You didn't hear it, the room so much when it was in context, but when I soloed just the final time just to check the tones, I went, holy crap, I'm hearing room tone. When we did this, though, in context, it cleaned the bass up quite a bit. We were both kind of surprised that just that little bit of room tone was making the bass slightly undefined, and now it's not. So we are going to go print this, and then the final step will just be making sure that the DI, or these new sounds, line up with the DI, and that's it for reamping. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Enjoy. Go make some music.